Okay.
I will turn off my, sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So welcome everybody. I don't know which number of hands-on session this is. I think it's the 8th hands-on session on the Data Cloud Bootcamp. We've got Lakshmi today helping build out our solution. We're going to be in the Data Cloud environment and in Marketing Cloud, finishing up those data actions, sending subscribers into Marketing Cloud, and then we're going to be customizing the journeys, creating some dynamic emails based on that data coming from Data Cloud. Before we get started, I'm going to have Lakshmi introduce herself as our guest builder for the day.
I don't think I'm a guest yet. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. But yeah, I'm Lakshmi Palani from Melbourne, and now it is 10:05 p.m. So once we finish this session, I will sleep for sure. And thanks, Tim, for giving us the opportunity to learn from the experts. I will turn off my video so that I can share the screen and I will view the actual things what we share.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And Lakshmi, thank you. Lakshmi's been a guest builder several times and always active in providing amazing comments and questions in all these sessions. So she's always goes above and beyond. So let me just set the stage real quick before we have Lakshmi share her screen and dive in. Am I showing a screen? I'm showing a use case sales funnel slide.
Yep.
Okay. So just in case those who didn't miss the last session, where our use case is that Cervelo Bank has launched this mobile app. They've seen that they're struggling getting users to take that first, they're able to deposit their money into their application, but they're not really able to make that first trade. So that's where we're going to create this segment of those people who bank linked, they've linked their bank, they've deposited money onto their mobile account, and we want to encourage them to make that first trade. Once they make that first trade, they tend to be active users within the platform. So that's that segment that we are built the calculated insight on, which we'll dive into a little bit, and then we're going to finish out the data action build in order to enable that. And just to walk through what we're going to be doing today, this is the lower part of this, these two different options of populating subscribers in Marketing Cloud. We had created that calculated insight. Matt did this, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And then he had also built that API entry event in Marketing Cloud, built the data extension, and align that data with that calculated insight so that when we turn on the target and the data action, all three of these pulled together will populate data into that data extension and fire those subscribers into that API entry event. So in today's session, we're going to have Lakshmi build the data action target, and then the data action, which will pull from both of these assets. Finishing out the process, we'll publish the calculated insight. We may not be able to see the actual journey entrance come into the entry event. It does take about an hour for that to happen, but we're going to use Postman to replicate the process of data populating in this API entry event, see the data come in, and then we're going to create dynamic emails using AMPscript and an email design system, leveraging those data points that are coming from Data Cloud. And then if we have time, we're also going to create a custom attribute that's going to determine different journey paths depending on that, that data that's coming from Data Cloud as well. So I'll stop sharing and then pass it off to Lakshmi.
Yeah, which screen do you want me to? Is it Data Cloud or?
Yeah, let's start with Data Cloud, Lakshmi. We're going to go to find that calculated insight that Matt built 2 weeks ago, just to sort of take a look at where that is. Awesome. So if you go to your calculated insights tab, And then if you go to, yeah, let's go to all calculated insights. And then I think it's that bootcamp underscore first deposit, that third one down. It's not run, it's sort of in that stage, yeah. So we haven't published this calculated insight. This is where we left off. You can see it, the schedule down below. It's not scheduled, which is great. This is, you know, you want to build your data action target and your data action before you actually schedule your calculated insight if you're populating data in Marketing Cloud. And then if you click on the edit in the upper right-hand corner, we'll just quickly go through the setup of what this is doing. So in our last session, Matt had to join 3 separate tables that allows us to populate all the data that we need to populate in the data extension based on that unified individual data schema. And Lakshmi, if you click on the aggregate, that'll show us the fields of what we're looking for. And this is what's going to be populated in the data extension. So we're going to be using the subscriber key, email address, obviously, to send that email, and then we'll be using those personalization data points in the emails themselves to personalize the email. Those are where all those different sources are coming from. So that's all set. Once we activate it, that data should start populating and all of that. So thank you for that. We can let's go out and let's go to the data action targets, which is right to the right of calculated insights. We're going to create a new data action target. And so you can click new there, yeah. So we could call this, if you duplicate this tab, or I think you have, yeah, if you duplicate this tab, let's go back to that calculated insight and let's just match the naming convention. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. And then we're gonna, yeah. And we're gonna go with Marketing Cloud, very good. We're gonna select our business unit, there's only one. And yep, we're gonna set an API event because Matt had created that in our last session. And now we have to select our API event. So I think if you scroll down, let's see, I know he created it relatively recently. It may be, but you know what, to really know, let's go into Marketing Cloud and let's go find that API event. Fantastic. So let's go to Journey Builder.
Yeah.
And if we click on Journey Builder, we're going to pull up the journey itself. Okay, and then if you click on last modified, yeah, it should sort it. And then one more time, we'll sort it the other way. Yeah. So, yep, I think it's that one, Data Cloud First Deposit.
Yep.
Okay, so that entry event is Data Cloud underscore First Deposit. Let's see if we can find that in our list. There we go, Data Cloud First Deposit. Perfect.
Save.
Okay, save, yep. Okay, relatively straightforward setting up that data action target, but to do that, you have to do the steps that we had done before, which was create the API and entry event. create the data extension that's based on the calculated insight fields that we had walked through before. I don't think you need to activate it in order to see that API event. I think once you create it, it should be there. It doesn't have to be attached to a journey. But anyways, so the cart before the horse when you're creating the data action. And then the last thing we do is we're going to create a data action. So I think if you go to your more, maybe data action is, yeah, data actions, perfect. So we're going to create a new one.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to use that new API event that you just created, the data action target. Yep. Default space. Yeah. Our object. So it is a calculated insight.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you click there, now we need to go find the name of that calculated insight.
This one, right?
Which, yep, bootcamp first deposit. Yep. And then we're going to go to the subscriber key. Click on that. Yep. You name that nicely, so that was easy to find. I think you can click next. So in our scenario, we want created and updated. So you want to click record created and record updated. We're not going to add any additional action rules, but you can add different filters here, but we're just going to do that there. Leave that as is, and then every time a record updates, immediately we'll leave that as the default. Click next, and you can the same name.
Shall I publish?
Perfect. Yes, fantastic. All right, there we go. Data actions created. Now we can navigate over to the calculated insight, and we can publish and schedule that calculated insight. So let's go up to the right. We'll in that little arrow, let's set the schedule. Kind of like every hour. Hopefully this speeds up too. Yeah, every hour looks good. Let's see what it gives us for a time.
So is it 1 hour?
Yeah, 1 hour looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the time you'll have to maybe set it for 8:30 a.m. Yeah. And then you can do it at the end of the year.
I think it's not a mandatory field, right? Can't add any.
I'm sorry. We could
No, it's not
you could do the end of the month if you wanted. Okay, and then just to push the data through, you can go back to that arrow on the right and you can hit publish, and that will process the data as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. Okay, I mean that's basically it. That's how you've set up the data action, the action target, and the calculated insight. And that's pretty much it. The data should start coming down into those journeys. Again, it should take about an hour for that to happen. we can go into Marketing Cloud and see a couple of examples of that data coming through in the meantime. But any questions on this?
I have one. Why the schedule was not yet changed? Do we need to refresh the browser so that we can see?
Yeah, good question. Let's try to see what happened there.
Should I click the refresh button?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
There we
CRM.
go. Cool. Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll move into the Marketing Cloud environment, and what we're going to do. So we've got this journey, and so we're going to sort of shift roles. Let's say up to this point you were, in that data cloud role. It might be a data cloud developer who's helping you set up the data action, or they might be setting up the segment in Data Cloud for you. But now you're in the role of a Marketing Cloud marketer or developer, and that, say they're going to launch this on Monday, but you want to see the data, you want to validate it and make sure that it all looks good, and you want to build your email. Like, how am I going to build my email if I can't see what the data looks like? So what you want to do is see if you can get some test data populated in here, so that you can, create your email and populate, populate it so you can see it work through. So we're going to walk through an exercise of how you can use Postman to send an API call with that payload that's going to replicate what you're going to get from Data Cloud and give you a data set that you can create that email to do that. So what I'm going to do, just in the effort of time, I'm going to do the Postman side of it. So Lakshmi, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to quickly walk through that part of the Postman side, and then we'll hop back to you. So let me see if I can. Let's see. So I'm in Postman. Am I sharing the Postman app? People see that? Trying to see if I can zoom in a little bit here. I don't know if that did that. Okay. All right. So what I've got set up in Postman is, and I think we've walked through, I think I have a link for another, I think we walked this through in the server-side JavaScript bootcamp. Postman's a great tool to give you the ability to send API calls into your Marketing Cloud environment. So you can use it to test triggered sends. You can use it to test, in our case, we want to test the API event in Marketing Cloud. So if we go into Marketing Cloud and we go into the journey that Lakshmi was just looking at, we've got this first deposit, the API entry event, the data cloud _ first deposit. We've also got this API event key. So in Postman, what you're going to need to do is, first of all, for an API event, there's a unique signature for the post URL syntax that you need to find. And then once you have that populated, there's really 2 data points that you need in order to send a test record into that API event. You need the API event key following the syntax for an API event call from Postman. And then you also need the payload, which is the data extension values that you're going to populate in your data extension. So I've got this is a post request in Postman that I've used for another journey. So we're going to modify this for the API event that Matt created 2 weeks ago. Before I do that, there's 2 parts to every API call from Postman. There's an auth call that you need to set up that based on the installed package that you've set up in Marketing Cloud, You get the client ID secret, the auth URI or URL as well. And that allows you to get a token that basically creates that handshake between Postman or whatever your tool is and Marketing Cloud. So we won't go through the details of that. I'll send you, I'll add a link to the channel for a walkthrough of how to set that up. But those are the two components you need. You need an auth call to create that handshake, that token. Once that's created, then you can determine what you're going to be sending to the Marketing Cloud environment to trigger that data. So let's go ahead and do that. So the two areas we need is the updated API event key from Marketing Cloud. So if we go back to that journey in Marketing Cloud, that's right here, this key. So we're just going to copy this key here. And we're going to go back into Postman and we're going to change this information here. The next part is to modify the payload, which is the data that you're going to be looking to populate in that data extension. So let's go back into Marketing Cloud. We're going to go to this data extension, which is first deposit. Let's go into find that data extension. That is in our Data Cloud data extension, first deposit. And this is the data extension that we've set based on the calculated insights. So it's the syntax, which is the beginning this bootcamp underscore first deposit underscore CIO underscore is the beginning of every single one of these fields. And then we've got each one of those fields after in the data extension. So all of these payload fields, the account name number, subscriber key, they're all the same from my earlier test. So I'm just going to copy the beginning syntax for each of these values and replace that in Postman. So all of these values, the actual data extension values, I've made them the same. So all I'm going to do is swap out this part of the value, which should align to this additional data extension that we've created. So with this, replace that should tell Postman the fields that we need to populate in order to send that subscriber information into the journey. So with all of the fields populated, and then I've got a sample data set here. So I'm using myself as a subscriber. That's my contact ID, subscriber key. Here's my email address. First name is Tim. Here's my account number, the bank name, and then the deposit amount. So that's what should hopefully come through and populate in that data extension in the journey. So to execute this, I'm going to go to my auth. I'm going to click send. That should generate a token. I'm going to copy this token. I'm going to go to my post request. I'm going to go to the authorization. I'm going to paste in that token. I'm going to come back into the body. I'm going to hit send. And then that is what I'm looking for, is a non-error message. Now that hopefully should send a request into that API event. Let's just go back to that real quick before I switch back to Lakshmi. And let's just see if we're seeing something come in. Oh, we're actually seeing some data come in from the data action, actually, which is actually good to see. We're actually seeing some records come in here. Let me just refresh that. It came through faster than I was expecting. So it should be all of the records from that data action and hopefully the record that I sent in as well. So I'm going to stop sharing. So that was, anyways, a way that you can use Postman to send test data. Luckily, that data populated sooner than I was expected. So I think we've got some data to look at and validate. Any questions on Postman before? Let me drop this into the channel. This is sort of a walkthrough of how to set up in Postman that auth call. Let's see, Lakshmi. a good post. Oscillation call to get the security token, data push to send the data records in. Yep. All the steps are clear to mention status. Yep. Exactly. Yep. That Salesforce help document is also very helpful. Any questions before we move back to Lakshmi and go on to the data validation part? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and Lakshmi, I'll pass it off to you to share. And it looks like we got some data to look at, which is pretty amazing. 60 records. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, if you hit refresh, we should see some data in here. That came through quicker than I was expecting. Okay, and so let's go to that data extension. However way you want to go to that data extension, Lakshmi, if you want to go through email, Email Studio or through Contact Builder, your choice.
No. Yeah, if it is just to view the data, then I prefer Email Studio for sure.
Cool. I agree. Yep. Under data extensions, under hands-on, under data cloud. And it should be that first deposit. So I think it's the 5th one down. Yeah, if you go back, it's just first deposit, not test first deposit.
This one.
Yep, perfect. All right, let's take a look at this data. Really kind of curious to see what we got. All right, cool. So it's hard to see the what each of these fields are because they all start with that syntax, bootcamp _ first deposit. But I think that the one that has those contact IDs, I think if you hover over that 5th column, that should be the subscriber key. So
Let's see.
Hover over the column. Yeah, so let's see.
Bootcamp
So,
CI was subkey.
if you hover or if you click on, there we go. And if you go to the 5th one over, the one I'm most curious about is the subscriber key. Okay, yeah, so that's the subscriber key. So similar situation, I don't know who also saw the data come down when we created the segment. It's a mixture of those contact IDs. Ideally, that's what we'd like to see is a 003 number. And that's that unified person that is unified with a Salesforce CRM contact. Again, we had multiple different sources. The mobile app is that mobile app syntax. That's somebody probably that came in, they were unified, but they didn't have a CRM record or an enterprise record. The enterprise lake, that's probably from our enterprise data set that's coming in, that was probably used as the subscriber key. And then last, I think the other scenario was the 003 number if they matched as a contact. So 3 different types of subscriber keys. Ideally, you'd like to work with your data model to get as many of those to align with your data model. In our example, it would be, a contact ID there, but just to walk through that, looks good. And then Lakshmi, if you go down to the bottom, let's see if my data record came in. I think it was number 61. Hopefully that came through as well. Yeah, there it is. The TD Bank, T-Zider, yep, there's that contact ID and everything like that, and all of that. So, luckily that data came through from Data Cloud, from that data action really quick, which is fantastic. But even if it didn't come through, we would have a record there that we can now create our email and say, okay, how are we going to, let's see if we can display the first name and the deposit amount and all of that in the email content. So any questions on that data coming through from that data action?
I just have one. We can see n number of, like, I was just expecting one, but we have 61, right? The previous ones were already activated by someone else or before 1 hour.
Yeah, the 60, that came from that publishing, and really it was the publishing of the data action.
Mm-hmm.
These are those, that segment we're looking to target, which is somebody who's bank linked and have deposited a certain amount of money with us. And now we want to communicate with them to say, hey, can you make your first trade? You can see all the first deposit values in that column all have values populated.
Yeah.
So 60 people we can reach out to. And so I figured that would be our next step, is let's create in the journey. So, you know, it's sort of like you like if you were doing this, as we talked about in our scenario, we ran the data action, and we ideally you wouldn't want to publish it until you have your email set up, right? But we were sort of just trying to get the data in the data extension. And that's why I wanted to do the API call to get the data populated. I thought that it might take an hour or two for the actual data to come in. But now that we have data populated, we can create an email and validate it so that we can see how the first name populates. We want to populate maybe the account number, how much was deposited. So maybe we'll do that next, as we'll create an email, pull in these data points into the journey, and create a custom message.
Yeah, but one question. So current Postman API call just brought one record, which is yours, right?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to create an email that's going to pull in these data cloud data points. We're going to personalize this email. We're going to create a, hey, whomever's on this list, thank you for depositing money in your account. Let's get you to make that first trade. Yeah, I'll go into content builder.
Yeah.
And we've got a templated email design system set up, which we'll walk through that as well. So we should be able to do a drag and drop email creation custom message. Awesome. So we'll go to that email folder on the left.
On the left?
Yep. And we'll open that up. You open that caret up and it should create a folder. Yep. And then we're going to go to hands-on. Yep. And we're going to go to data cloud. Perfect. All right. We're just going to create, Email Studio allows you to create it in that folder once you navigate it. So that's kind of handy. So we're going to the upper right-hand corner. We're going to click the blue button to create. I'm going to create a new email. And we're going to do an email message. And then, yep, we're going to select a template. We're going to select the template for our email design system. And then if you go to the Save tab, yep. And then if you go to the folders, in the upper right, on the top there, yep. Yep. And then if you scroll down a little bit, yep, you'll see that email design system. Yep. So if you open up that email design system, and then if you go to template, you can pick the one on the left, email design template -tim test. And we can name this the same. We've been naming, was it, yeah, however you want to name it. Perfect. Very good.
That's it.
Perfect. Click next, and we'll get right into the content. Okay, so this is our basic, maybe others might have experience with this. This is a basic template that's set up in our email design system, which allows you, it's got preset like sections, header, footer, body sections, where you're going to be dragging and dropping different components so that you can quickly and easily create emails at scale. So we're going to go to the content tab, right to the right, yep. And we're going to navigate, we have this folder called modules that we're going to pull over some blocks. Yep, so if you go to email design system, and before you click in anywhere, I just wanted to just mention quickly the navigation that we typically set up when we set up an email design system. So there's a couple of different folders. We had already selected the template, right? We like to have that in its own folder template. Usually just have one. You might have different templates depending on different scenarios, different layouts. The modules folder is where you're gonna have all your different blocks. We'll go into that in a second. Scripts, you might have different custom AMPscript blocks that you might use for custom coding. You might store your images in a separate area, and then you might have emails that you've got pre-populated email full templates where they've got all the blocks in where you're sort of, so that's a sample folder structure that we like to use. Anyways, let's go into modules. And then if you click on the name of modules, it'll alphabetize it. Sometimes handy. Okay. So this is basically got our basic email design system. We've got a header, we've got a footer, we've got body text left, we've got a call to action button. Not fully built out, but just the basics. So let's start off with the header one logo. So if you drag that header one logo to the header content, perfect. So there's our Cervelo Bank. And then you can click done editing on that. We don't need to do much on that as well.
Yep.
Cool. And then let's drag over the footer without social media. It's kind of got a long name there. Yeah, we'll drop that into the footer section. Cool. Nothing really need to do there as well. You can just hit done editing. Again, it's set up so that it can send an email and all of that. Let's bring over body text left. That's what we're going to be doing our text work. Perfect. And then you'll hit done editing on that real quick.
Yep.
And then the last part, let's bring over a call to action button. So if we go up, well, maybe we'll do the call to action button, either left or centered, whichever you prefer. We'll bring that right below the body copy. Yeah, it's sometimes hard to, yep, there we go, perfect. All right. And then one other block we're gonna add, so we hit done editing. We're gonna come back into this in a minute. Let's add header script. We typically like to put header script, like it could be at the very top or it could be between the logo. Yeah, that's perfect at the top. Fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. So your header script is best practices. If you've seen us in the AMPscript bootcamp, we walk through this. It's usually best practice to have all of your AMPscript coding, some do it inline. We kind of like doing it separately. You have all your logic in one place. And if you're doing it, it tends to be best if you use a code snippet. You can use a free-form block as well, but it can manipulate your code and reformat things and cause some craziness. Definitely recommend using a code snippet whenever you're doing your AMPscript. Okay. So this should be relatively straightforward as far as the AMPscript. We're not going to go crazy because we don't have a ton of time. What we're going to want to do is to set, let's add a subject line. Thank you, Lakshmi, because that yellow section bugging us.
So what would be the subject?
Whatever you want to put in there, like, thank you for depositing. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so let's Yeah, we can add, yep, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go back to that header script. And this is where we're going to set all of those variables that we're going to use to personalize. So a couple of those variables that we used, one was first name. We have bank name. I think there was an account number and deposit. So maybe those 4 fields. So what you can do, you can delete, well, we'll keep that E number for now, just because depending on your environment, you might need it. And I might be a little bit old school. I know some might use that icon that you were navigating to, Lakshmi, but I tend to just like to do it in AMPscript. So if you want to take that line 8, instead of EDS, we'll leave it as EDS greeting. EDS greeting is a variable that we can just standardize for a typical greeting, and that would be our first name value. So in the attribute value in the quotes, we're going to want to go to the data extension and find that data extension field that represents the first name. So Lakshmi, if you go back to the data extension that has all that data in it, and if we go to the field that has the first name in it, we're going to want to copy that syntax. Yeah, this is where it's tricky because it's hard to see. If you clicked edit fields, that might open it up a little bit so you can see it. Yeah, there you go. It's definitely not a number. See, if you just click into one and scroll to the right, let's see. So that's account number. This one. There we go. First name. Let's copy that. Perfect. And then we'll go back into that attribute value. So in the attribute value, line 8, yep, we're going to paste that in there. Perfect. And then let's copy line 8 3 more times. We're just going to set 3 more variables. And if you want to widen your screen a little bit, like you can widen your header script area, yeah, give you a little bit of space. Okay. So the next variable, let's say that's bank name. Whichever one, actually, we'll see whichever one you find. Yeah, bank name, perfect. Let's go with bank name. Let's see what else we got here. We want deposit amount, perfect. And then the last one, account number, if we can find account number. That might be the first value at the top.
Yep.
Yeah, it might be at the very first.
Yep.
Yep.
So is
greeting. First deposit.
Ding.
Oh, okay. If you paste that, what you just copied on line 10 in the attribute value, yep. Nice.
It's correct, right?
I think that goes on line 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So we'll want to set account, the line 9 as a variable, maybe account number. So instead of set EDS greeting, yeah. Cool. You could set the next line to bank name.
First name. I think I copied first name 2 times.
Yeah, we go to the bank name. I think it was the third one.
I think third one.
There we go. Cool.
This one should be placed.
Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Nicely done. Fantastic. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got all of our variables. Now we can just modify the body text left and display all those variables. So we won't go too crazy with the copy, but you could just say, we'll go into that. It depends on where you want to edit. I typically like to edit in the HTML just because that can be, the content WYSIWYG can be tricky. So yeah, you could just say, thank you for your deposit. Here are the details, something like that. Perfect. All right. And then we'll all right, so you're.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe the first name. No, I should say percentage, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Correct. And that's EDS underscore greeting.
Yeah. EDS.
Yeah, but you're right with the at, yeah.
Underscore first name.
Perfect.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
and that's just bank name. The EDS was the only one, the only variable. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Cool. So you might need a couple of BRs in there.
yeah.
So you might, after the below, on line 6. Yeah, there. Yeah. And then you probably need one after the details below.
Mm.
And then the variable on line 6 is, I think it's underscore greeting, not underscore first name. But we will proof that and see. All right, nice work, Lakshmi. All right, let's hit, let's preview this, see if we can get this, see what we get.
Yeah. Before that, I just want to see greeting. It is greeting 1, and then bank name, account number, deposit amount. Yeah.
Reading. Yep.
Mm. Nice.
Amazing. Look at that. Nicely done. Woohoo.
Yeah, it's 18,000.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then, yeah, let's arrow through the data extension just to see it. So if you, yeah, to see the different values coming through. You know, there we see a bank name that wasn't populated, so you could have that field be, you could have an if statement around there that it's not populated to not display. Same thing with account number, and stuff like that. But nicely done, Lakshmi. Really well done. That was quick work. Complicated AMPscript, inline AMPscript, and using AMPscript to set variables and all of that. And now we're seeing that value, you know, that data that, you know, a half an hour ago was in Data Cloud, and it was just, you know, part of these different, all this different data set. Within, you know, a half an hour's time, we were able to create this segment, pull in this group that was just these people that had just deposited, brought in their values, saw those come in real time, and then Lakshmi creating using those data points to personalize the email, showing, you know, them, hey, you just deposited this amount, and encouraging them to make that first transaction. Nicely done. Cool to see that end-to-end coming together. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there. That was really nice done. We've got one more session. I think we're going to stretch to see if we can do a end-to-end walkthrough of ingesting, setting up an Amazon S3 bucket, populating the data in that S3 bucket, and then ingesting that into Data Cloud, and may also hopefully seeing that come in through Marketing Cloud as well. That'll be 2 weeks from, I think, tomorrow. So we'll post that out in social media and LinkedIn for anyone who wants to join and build. We'll lean on Lakshmi if we don't find another builder, if you might be interested, Lakshmi. Thank you so much again for sharing and being an excellent builder and showing off your AMPscript skills especially. And we'll wrap it up. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.
I'm just exiting. Before exiting, I just wanted to ask one question. When this is involving, this is involving recipients' individual transaction details. It's just a minor, we don't need this unsubscribe, or it would be a transactional one, right?
The send classification?
Yes.
Transactional versus commercial?
Yes, that's what. If it is a transactional, then we don't need to provide that unsubscribe link, right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you know, you kind of wonder with this one, is it transactional, or is it, you know, and this one sort of is on the line, blurs the line, right? Because we're trying to market to them, and it's not an operational email. But, you know, that's a really good point, Lakshmi. If you don't have if it is transactional, you don't need to provide that unsubscribe. That's a good point. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's just a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
exiting. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for building, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. We've got the Journey Builder Bootcamp that's coming up as well.
Yeah, would love to be there.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, bye.